This portion of LEX-18 News is brought to you by CSEP.
We need to bump that index up. We now have a tornado warning, northern Scott County going into the western part of Harrison County. This is going to be north of Sadieville as well as west of Cynthiana. So again, for you folks in Corinth, you remain under a tornado warning, as well as now the northern part of Scott as well as Harrison County. Again, Grant and Owen County till 6:30. The storm is now approaching Corinth, although we were seeing some signs that the storm may be trying to weaken. But what's going on here with it? We still continue to have a cell merger, and we were talking about that about 20 minutes ago, where when you start putting cells together, you increase the risk of severe weather. What you've got is these storms here, the line that's in southern Grant County back into Owen County, that's dropping south. The storms that are now in northern Scott County are coming north. So now we're putting things together, and when you do that, you make spin happen in the atmosphere, and so these storms can develop and rotate very quickly. The tornado warning for Harrison and Scott County also until 6:30. So again, with that warning, you see that you've got Cynthiana. Cynthiana, you are not included in this tornado warning yet. Sadieville is not included in this tornado warning. It is just north of Sadieville along I-75 there, along U.S. Highway 25. And again, for the folks there west of Cynthiana, it's even west of Barry, but it's not far from Connorsville, where we're seeing that potential for tornadic weather. So again, it comes right up to Connorsville for that tornado warning until 6:30. Corinth, the storm is very close to you at this point. We may be seeing another hooking trying to take place right in here. That's going to be just about I-75, right just south of Corinth there at the Grant, Scott, and Owen County lines, where the three counties converge. That is likely where we're seeing a potentially tornadic storm at this point, and then the hooking comes back around. But that's a pretty broad hook at this point. So again, you're looking right there around 75 and 25 north of Sadieville, where this could be a potentially tornadic storm. It's a classic radar signature on this. The first warning came out of Wilmington. The second one for Scott and Harrison came out of the office in Louisville. But again, you're seeing how it's in the western part of Harrison County, Connorsville on up to almost Barry, and then from there back to the west. So again, you're in a pretty rural area there, northern part, or western part of Harrison County. So you got Highway 36 there, 356 where it joins in to I-75. So again, we're continuing to see the potential hooking right in there, and that's going to be very close to Corinth. At this point, Corinth may be getting in on some of the hail with this storm as well. Maybe some hail back also to the west of Sadieville. Potential, that could be something a little bit more. If this has actually touched down, that could be a little bit of debris showing up where we're seeing that enhancement right back in there west of Sadieville. We have no confirmed reports of touchdowns. This has been a radar-indicated tornado, but again, it would be in an area where we would expect it, and we had talked about it before the warnings had come out, where we were seeing that cell convergence. So again, you're seeing how that's wrapping in just south of Corinth along Highway 25. It's where 25 and 75 split apart there. Where 25 heads a little bit off to the east along the railroad tracks there in the northern part of Scott County, headed into Corinth. So for you folks in Corinth, in Sadieville, you need to be in shelter. And what we always describe is the duct method. The D in duck is downstairs. You're at the lowest level you can. Your house has a basement. You get to the basement. Otherwise, it's the ground floor. The U in duck is under. You get under something big, heavy, and sturdy. It's a big, heavy table. You get under a staircase. That's something sturdy that can protect you from flying debris. Or you get inside a bathtub. The C is center. It's the middle part of your house. The walls of your house are layers of protection. The more you can put between you and the outside, the better your chances of coming through even a direct hit. And finally, the K is keep away from windows and doors. You also want to keep your head down and keep a bike helmet nearby if you can. This is something that we talk about in every Bill's Weather 101. So we're talking now northern Scott County, Northern Elementary there in Scott County. That is an every year visit with Bill's Weather 101. And every year, kids, we've talked about this. So you know what to do. You know not to panic in these situations. You just get to your safe spot as quickly as you can. So again, for the next 7 minutes, we have a tornado warning for Harrison and Scott County. And it's where that cell merger is taking place now, north of Sadieville, right over Corinth. Not only are we seeing the cell merger, you're also getting torrential rain. So if you're also out there thinking, hey, I've got my cell phone, I'm going to go get a picture of this for Bill. No, you're not. You need to be in your safe spot. You want to get this storm by you because this storm is also going to be within torrential amounts of rain. You're not going to see it coming. And so the bottom line is you need to be in your safe spot. Now we're watching that now crossing I-75. Torrential rain now along I-75 between Corinth and Sadieville. This storm is now beginning to cross from northern Scott County into the very western part of Harrison County. So this is going to be along and just north of Highway 356. It's approaching Highway 36 at this point, and again, where you're seeing that inflow coming in like this, where this part of the cell dropping south, this part's coming north, and you're getting a shear taking place aloft. That is where we are again seeing the potential for a tornadic thunderstorm. This is something we talked about 20 minutes ago, how we were watching these things come together. The storm is out of Owen County at this point, so you folks are fine. I'm trying to give you a little bit bigger picture if I could. There you go with the warnings. Grant and Owen, 6:30. Again, Owen County, the storm is pretty much out of your area. It's now from I-75 eastward in Scott County as well as in Harrison County, as well as the very southern part of Grant County where we are looking at that potential. So we were talking a second ago, it was the Owen-Scott-Grant County convergence point. Now let's talk about the Harrison-Grant-Scott County convergence point there as one of your primary bullseyes on this. Again, at least as a good reference point for you. We're back on the MaxTrack Live Doppler. It's the only live Doppler radar around. So again, for another few minutes for the folks back in Grant and Owen County, Harrison-Scott County until 6:30 for this tornado warning. Again, it's north of Sadieville, west of Cynthiana. So again, if you're using these as benchmarks in these counties, the larger towns there that we're talking about not included. But again, the farms, the rural areas out along Highway 36, as well as Highway 356 there. Again, you were looking at, come on back to that for just a second. There's 36 right there. So again, it's approaching Highway 36 north of Connorsville. So again, well to the northwest of Cynthiana. That's going to be heavy rain that he circled right in there along US 25 and I-75. Anything that from Louisville, Seth? Have they said anything else about the warning?
No, I haven't heard anything yet. I do have a base velocity one with that.
Sure. If you got something, let's take a look.
Yep.
It's on the MaxTrack?
Yeah, I'm going to
I'll pull it. I've got it coming up here. Okay. I can backtrack to it. So again, there's your tornado warnings. So there is your base velocity. What you're looking at, again, this is going to be off the Weather Service radar that is located back in Louisville. That's why you're seeing the arcing that way. So from Corinth, that means this is going that way. These reds are going that way. And so there is your counterclockwise rotation there, sitting just a skosh south of Corinth. Again, that's going to be a couple of minutes old as well on the that scan. So again, it's going to be just now moving in probably to the western part, extreme western part of Harrison County at this point. So you've got Garnet, Berry, Cynthiana. That's your eastern flank of all that. So again, 6:30 for Grant and Owen County. And again, it's near Corinth, although it looks like now the core of this, if it's tornadic still, is getting to the eastern edge of that warning area in Harrison County. That's going to be until 6:30, so another few minutes with that particular cell. Again, for the moment, Cynthiana, you are not included in this. Can you give me a quick loop on that, just so we can see how this is moving, Seth? Thank you. And there is. Okay, so again, watch the convergence there. One more time. It's almost like the Florida chomp right here, but there you see how that they're converging together there in western parts of Harrison County. It's not going to surprise me if this gets extended by another couple of minutes with that cell convergence going on in Harrison County. So I'm just coming over to take a quick look at what we've got going on over here. Oh, as again, you watch that looping going on. There's no mention of whether or not they're going to be continuing this past 6:30 or not.
no talk of it.
So nothing yet. But again, we've continued to see the cell merger going on. We were talking about that a half hour ago, how these cells are coming together. So you folks around Berry, you guys are the next folks in line. Be very aware. Be in shelter there in Berry. Garnet there, also in the northwestern part of Harrison County. You guys need to be prepared. That's near Highway 36 at this point. You're in some pretty hilly country up there, so you're not going to have real good visibility on a lot of this. Along and probably just south of Highway 1032 at this point in northern Harrison County. So again, Cynthiana, at this moment, you are not included. But if this gets extended, which is going to be a possibility past 6:30, it would not surprise me if Cynthiana would get included. So right now in Cynthiana, you are on alert. You are getting prepared just in case. Regardless, that's a severe thunderstorm that is coming your way. For folks in Connorsville, this is likely going to pass just north of Highway 356, so likely not getting into Connorsville at this point with that cell, but it will be awfully close. But again, Highway 356 right now is going to be a pretty good southern boundary for this particular cell. And you can see it's going to be in that notching right in there where the potential for this storm to be tornadic does exist, and it's very close at this point to Highway 36 to the southwest of Barry. So we're talking just a couple of miles here southwest of Barry. So if you're in western Harrison County, again, you need to be in your safe spot. You do not need to be trying to get a picture of this. You need to wait for this storm to get by you, and when it's safe, when it is safe, then if you've got some damage, we would like to see those pictures come on in. But again, for the moment, you are not. You are still in a dangerous position here. We have not seen this extended. We're coming up on 6:29. So again, Corinth, it's torrential rain. Sadieville, you're on the edge of the torrential rain. Barry, you're probably getting some at least small hail at this point. The core of this storm, if it's tornadic, is going to be very close to Highway 36 at this point as it's sneaking by the northern part of Harrison County. So again, we continue with the warning. Any additions yet?
We just have, looks like
I'm actually going to back it up to the max track here because
yeah. So now Harrison, Scott, looks like we're expiring tornado warning at this point. So
they are expiring the warning. So before we let you go, we're going to come up on Lester Holt here in just a second. This is again another velocity display coming out. They're pulling this out of Louisville. So what you're seeing here, so it's passed by Corinth. So green again going toward the Louisville radar. The red is going away from the Louisville radar. So again, you've got at least some circulation taking place there, and that's going to be in the western part of Harrison County. So again, that's a pretty good radar signature. And again, when we go to the max track, which is a much closer radar at this point, you are looking again the potential of that storm still rotating. So the tornado warning is expired. With that said, this is still likely a severe thunderstorm. It will have some damaging wind gusts. At the very least, it is a torrential rain producer, and that's going to be, again, back toward Corinth. That's going to pass just north of Cynthiana. But again, we are going to continue to track this. At the moment, it's passing north of Cynthiana. At the moment, the tornado warning has been allowed to expire. Hopefully, it stays that way. We will continue to track this storm. We'll break into programming as necessary, but for now, we'll send you over to Lester Holt and NBC News.
With Lester